The Republican Party has won control of the United States Senate in the country's midterm elections in an enormous blow to the Democrat President Barack Obama. Politicians, analysts, pundits and future candidates will all be studying the entrails to see if they can read any messages into the next presidential race in 2016. The Republicans will be heartened by the result and the Democrats worried as they decide on their next White House candidates. President Obama will be gloomily surveying the landscape and wondering if his next 2 years in office will be just marking time. For a look at the implications of today's US election results, I was joined a short time ago from California by Simon Jackman. He's a professor of political science at Stanford University and also a visiting professor at the US Studies Centre in Sydney. So, Simon Jackman, the million-dollar question, what does a Republican-controlled Senate mean for the final 2 years of an Obama administration?
Well, it means that Obama is the last line of defence, if you will, in stopping Republican initiatives becoming law. He has one weapon left, and that's his veto pen. And whatever this Republican majority turns out to be, 52, 53, 54, it's not 60. And so there'll be some filibustering going on to stop things going all the way to Obama's desk. But it really does set up the stage for continued gridlock. Obama's going to have a great struggle trying to get any sort of a legacy out of the congressional branch of American government. And he'll be relying more on executive action to leave whatever he can in terms of a legacy.
So what sort of things would he like to do over the next couple of years that may prove difficult with a Republican-dominated House and Senate?
Well, I think the thing he really wants to be sure of is that the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, stays in place. I think we can bet on the Republican-controlled Congress sending bills his way, seeking to dismantle that. But that is his signature piece of legislation, his biggest piece of accomplishment. And so he will certainly veto that. The Exxon pipeline will be certainly coming his way too. We'll see where he lands on that. But it's going to be an interesting dance. He's going to be trying to get appointments through, and I think there's going to be some horse trading there between appointments he wants to make in these last 2 years and how much he's prepared to concede to the Republicans on their agenda.
Basically, the second the final vote is counted in this election, the countdown begins to the 2016 presidential election. I'd like to take a look at what this might mean for both parties. If we can start with the Republicans, when they look at this result, what message do you think that they'll be taking about the type of candidate they need to select as their presidential nominee for 2016 to have the best shot of winning?
Yeah, I don't know that this election is particularly informative about that. One of the big things about this election is the low turnout that we get in an American midterm election. It's very difficult, I think, and it would be very foolish, I think, of Republicans to read too much into this, that the wind is at their back, that they've got a realistic shot at knocking off who I imagine will be Hillary Clinton. So I would caution Republicans against overreading tonight's success, stunning as it is, for what this may bode for presidential politics in 16, and in particular the sorts of candidates that will emerge through the Republican primary process. At the end of the day, it's going to be in the middle of American politics where the next presidential election is won or lost. And I think so on the Republican side, don't be too emboldened. This is not a big endorsement of a conservative agenda by mainstream America.
You mentioned Hillary Clinton earlier as being the likely Democrats' nominee. We've heard a lot in this election about Barack Obama's unpopularity and how that's played out. Do you think that it's a problem for Hillary Clinton where Obama is sitting currently, and has she made the right call in pulling out of his administration at the end of the first term to give herself that bit of distance?
Oh yeah, that was a very smart call on her part, and one I think a lot of us were expecting to see. If there's anything to take away from the Democratic side tonight, it's some of the data in the exit polls. If you're asking Democrats, and again, you have to take this very carefully given that it's such a low turnout election, but the exit polling among Democratic voters today, Hillary Clinton is hands down the preferred candidate at this point. Now, it's early days, although only 14 months until the Iowa caucuses, but Hillary Clinton is the preferred nominee by margins of 70 to 30, with no one else even struggling to break single digits. So it's Hillary's election to lose, quite frankly, both in terms of the Democratic nomination, and also I just think the national playing field is still extremely favourable to Democrats when we come back into the on-year context, a full-bore presidential setting, as we'll see 2 years from now.
When you look back to 2008 and the excitement when Obama became president, and then you look at his unpopularity now in the US, what has gone wrong there?
I think a couple of things. One is that the economy has struggled to achieve liftoff. The aggregate numbers look pretty good, but it's very patchy. Here where I'm sitting in California, in the middle of Silicon Valley, times are very good indeed. But in the middle part of the country, it's a very mixed message economically. The United States is still embroiled in the Middle East. ISIS, I think the Obama administration can't believe that this is happening to them, that they came into office inheriting the wars in the Middle East from the Bush administration, and here we are. They will probably still be embroiled in those conflicts 8 years later. So a lot hasn't gone right. In particular, the last couple of years, the rollout of Obamacare, which was supposed to be the great accomplishment of the Obama administration, did not go well. And even small details like perhaps fumbling the ball a little on Ebola just in the last couple of weeks, the management of Ebola here in the United States, all these things have added up to a perception that Obama perhaps is disengaged, isn't paying attention. And so I think that's part of the atmospherics here.
Simon Jackman, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Lee.